On this week's episode, we're traveling all the way down to the fabled waters of Biscayne Bay. We're going to be on the hunt for tarpon and bonefish with my good friends Rick Harris and Captain Carl Ball. So stick around. Miami is not my scene. There's too many people, too much traffic, there's just too much going on. But even in a city of nearly 500,000 people, you can still find solitude. At sunrise on a Sunday morning, the place seems downright abandoned. As the city sleeps, huge schools of giant tarpon begin to feed, and it's not long before we get on a school. The problem with tarpon isn't finding them or even getting close to them, it's getting them to eat. It often comes down to a numbers game. You've got to get that lure in the right place at the right time in front of the right fish, and so you have to cast.
The second they open their mouth, the lure stops, and that's what you feel. And if you set the hook, you just pull it right out of their mouth instantly. Your hand moves the first half an inch that your hand moves, your rod tip moves 6 inches. Within a quarter of a second, it's out of his mouth and he didn't even close his lips yet. Grab the spool and break him off if he gets in that bridge. If he doesn't go straight through it at some point here. I tighten the drag a little more, but sometimes you might have to. Direct them out of there now, but it doesn't look good, does it? Straight out. That last one. All we gotta do is get by one more. That's alright, I gotta get around that thing. So far, so good. It ain't over yet. It's not over until we're a half a mile from that bridge. Sorry, I hooked a big one. I didn't mean to hook a big one. I meant to get you a little one.
Come on, here it comes, there it comes. 320-pound fish, man. There it goes, there it goes.
I think you're gonna be ready for a bonefish after this one.
Maybe a speckled trout. A ladyfish, how's that? Wonderful
Good job,
again,
man.
wonderful again.
Good job, bro.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks.
You still got it in you after all these years.
Ain't too bad for 70.5 years old. Yeah.
Biscayne Bay is one of those places that I grew up hearing about and watching on television on shows like Walker's Cay Chronicles. But even though I grew up in Florida, this is the first time that I've ever been down here. When I'm in a new area, I can't help but to look around and wonder what the place must have been like before there were so many people. But even though Florida has changed immensely over the last 50 years, something tells me that the tarpon are the same, as timeless as the tides themselves. With a very nice tarpon brought to the boat, we decided to head over to the flats to look for bonefish. The wind and choppy water makes seeing the fish a little bit difficult, but with a little bit of persistence, we finally catch up with them. Florida is one of the most unique and diverse places I've ever been. From massive cattle ranches to beaches and marshes teeming with wildlife, Florida has a little bit of everything. And although it took me a long time to discover the place that I grew up, you can bet I'll be making up for lost time. Next year, Liz and I are planning a kayak trip into the Everglades to fish for tarpon and see what other adventures we can find in the mangroves. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that so you don't miss out. We'll see you next time.